Let's talk about Wiki a little bit more. One of the things we're seeing is the declining cost of collaboration that's driving what's happening in society. And one of the best authors on the subject of Wiki is Don Tapscott. He wrote Wikinomics and Macroeconomics. And one of the things we can observe is that in society in general, initially we had the writing. Writing allowed us to advance scientifically because we need to capture our ideas in order to be able to build upon them. So writing permitted us to do that. That's where science started from. Without writing, we wouldn't have had science. But writing is one individual putting down and one person reading it. We then had the printing press, which allowed us to disseminate what was written down to larger groups of people. We then evolved to radio, where through the radio waves we could actually communicate verbally to large masses of people. Large mass communication, but unidirectional. Just as TV then brought in pictures and we could communicate vastly amounts more information over the television waves, but once again it was controlled by the few. Along comes internet. So the internet initially set up, called Internet 1.0, the initial version, was once again dissemination of information. Scientists were using it to exchange documents, to collaborate to a certain extent. But today what we have is what we're calling Internet 2.0, which is where collaboration enters the game. It's now a two-way exchange on the internet. You not only go onto the internet to shop and to pick things and to read about stuff, but you can now exchange, collaborate, and enrich the content. This is a massive difference in the way we communicate as individuals. You know, you used to communicate with your teacher one-on-one and so forth, but today you now have vast amounts of people communicating bidirectionally with mass amounts of people. This changes the game totally. So a few of the fundamental principles of the Wiki concept is, number one, is peering. So peering is basically a scientific principle where you have information, you have discovery, you have a theory, whatever it might be, and other people are allowed to come along and validate that what you're saying is and comment on it. You're building together. It's a voluntary association most of the time because the topic, people aren't directed to go and peer review. People peer review because they want to, which gets better content, better contribution. The second principle of the Wiki concept is openness. The information is readily available to anyone, which is the opposite of the command and control structure, where information is held in confidence, information is held in order to gain power over others. Within the Wiki world, information is open. It's the basic principle of the Wiki concept. The third is sharing. So yeah, although you can partake in information and so forth, the notion of sharing is that you contribute to get much more back. This is very different. You might contribute in order to get somebody to build up on your product or your thing or your idea. Within the Wiki concept, it's the acknowledgement that if I share my ideas and other people adopt my ideas, they'll then build upon it, and then I will gain as much from their building upon my information as I do. This is very different. And we've seen this in the Rational Optimist book. He talks very much about the fact that society has gained through cross-pollination on ideas. It's vastly superior to a command and control structure where people are holding control of the information and thinking, well, that gives me leverage upon others, and then that allows me to succeed, and it's forgetting the fact that you succeed by yourself is not as enriching as if 10 people succeed and then you all contribute, then everybody's standard of life goes up. So that's the third principle of the Wiki concept. And the fourth is acting globally. I would say globally and locally, because wherever the issue lies, it doesn't matter if it's in your local group, a local group of people can get together and resolve issues that affect them locally, as well as people that are interested at a global level. The barriers of the nation state that have existed for hundreds of years disappear. They get dissolved by the fact that technology doesn't know any boundaries. So these are the four main principles of the Wiki concept. So quick collaboration being the initial thought behind it. So the other issue is that with society growing technologically and socially, our complexity factor is growing at a geometric rate. The complexity of our society is growing so fast that a command and control structure can't handle it over time. So one or two options will happen. The command and control structure in place will pull back society to a level where it can manage the complexity, which means we go backwards in time, back to a feudal system, which is what we're seeing with the New World Order implementing its system. Or we adopt a new system based on the Wiki concept, where high levels of complexity can be managed because you have vast groups of people dealing with vast amount of issues and resolving them. So it's the only way forward, as far as I can tell, for our society to deal with the vast amount of issues arising every day that need to be dealt with. One person isn't as smart as a million at the end of the day. So we need this new system in place in order to evolve properly. One of the other things we see with Wiki is it's a continuous evaluation and reiteration. So once you put an idea out there, it doesn't stay static. As people contribute, it keeps evolving. And evolution is a part of biology. It comes back to biomimicry. If we want to build systems, they should imitate nature as much as possible, because nature has been around for much longer than we have. And there are some pretty robust systems. And we see in nature that things continue to change and evolve. They don't remain static. The command and control system demands that things stay as much unchanged as possible for it to continue to manage society. But like I said, with complexity arising, you need a system that is fluid, that is able to adapt and evolve. And that's another benefit of the Wiki society. It is capable of doing that. And we see that in software development today. We had a way of managing large-scale projects in a waterfall system where you say, here's the plan, here's what we're going to do, here's what we're going to execute, and here's what everybody's going to be doing. That works to a certain extent, but when you have things that are less tangible, that are moving quickly, you need another system. We see in software development, agile systems being put in place where small groups of people give incremental changes to different softwares in order to meet the market needs. So it's an example of how technology and the way we manage within technology is evolving to meet the demands. So when I sit back and I look at it, I say, well, my kid, he can go on Amazon.com, he can search for a Lego, he can find a Lego, he can then see how that Lego rates relative to other Legos, a $299 product. He can then see qualitatively what other people are saying. If he's not sure of what somebody's saying, he can drill into how they've commented on other products and get an idea for that person's assessment across other products that he may know, and see if he understands that person's way of rating things, and then give some weight to it. So you see qualitative and you see quantitative data on a $2.99 element, yet today, you know, I can't vote on a war and I have no say on what's going to happen with our water locally or nationally. So these systems exist, we just need to reapply them at large scale for the way we manage our society. One of the greatest difficulties is getting past organized chaos. So if you've contributed to a wiki, you've gone on a blog, or it could be on a news site or whatever, here's an issue that's raised and you have people contributing, and then you'll see a blog of just a mess of data flowing underneath. Those that are poorly managed, that's what you get. You get no content that's coming out of it. It's just people voicing their opinions, throwing them out there, throwing them back concerning the issue, but there's no organization of that. A properly run blog maintains the things we have learned from command and control. We don't throw out everything, we don't throw out the bathtub. There are things we've learned command and control that still apply today. So it's a matter of marrying the two. If you want to run a successful blog, well then you have moderators who are trained to identify those issues that are being raised within the blog concerning the primary issue. They then take it, they then reiterate it, and then people put their thumbs up and you can see how people are voting, and then you can look at those that have the highest votes and say, yeah, I agree with this, or no, put in another comment underneath that, and the moderator can raise that up, and at the end of the day, they can reformulate the issue with the comments of the people and say, well, this is the general feedback from the group we've gotten on this issue, and this is how it evolves it going forward. So it is a risk, and within part 2 we're going to talk about that quite often, on how we mitigate those risks with the roles and responsibilities and a proper management structure. So that's the way it plays itself out. Just want to give you some thoughts on the concept of Wiki and the use of technology in part 2 of the book. Thank you.